because we have to get used to feeling recorded.
Okay, I'm totally good with that, and I have no problem with it.
Being recorded. Yes. All right. The top of my scalp always itches right before I try to start, so get rid of that. My hair is good enough. It's been many different hairdos today because of the humidity. All right.
Now, if I laugh, does it count?
No, it doesn't. As long as you're not just going, ha, ha. No, we're not doing that. Indeed. Audrey can totally roll her tongue already. She just
Important.
One day
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Okay, here we go. Hey, you found the verbal transform. I'm Emily Gustosi, and this is a place where we talk about words that I'm not going to do that on this one. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sick of that intro bit where we talk about what we do here. I know it's nice to provide context, but I'm feeling sick of it today.
Okay.
Okay. I'm feeling like this needs to be a little taller for me. Give me a second. Because when I stretch up, I leave frame.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm kind of slouched here. Can you tell I'm slouched? Do I need to sit straighter?
Not necessarily. I just have no back. I'm sitting on a bench.
Okay.
You don't need to be all prim and proper for me, but yeah.
I don't want to be, because I think I'm more of a slouch gal. Okay.
You be comfortable. Whatever you need to do to be comfortable.
All right, Emily. We got it.
Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, you found the verbal transform. I'm Emily Gustosi, and today I'm joined by Jennifer Thompson. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jennifer.
Hey, Emily, I'm so glad to be here. So I am the founder and CEO of Deviant Thinking, which is a forum to allow others to explore new ideas and new possibilities. And I have come to Deviant Thinking through a corporate career in which I led an extremely amazing creative team develop product for a major retailer in the United States.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm really excited about your word, because your word is why I have this channel.
Awesome.
We're here to talk about curiosity, and I am intensely curious about people and stuff, and I want to hear about how you feel about this word.
Well, I love curiosity, because I think without curiosity, you can't be a deviant thinker, and you can't think outside the box, because you have to expand what you know. And the only way to expand what you know is just simply by being curious.
Mm-hmm. So how do you find people using curious when you talk to them?
You know, that's a really good question. And I think what I find really interesting about it is most people actually don't like the word curious. You know, we're taught quite young that curiosity killed the cat, right? So when we tell our children to quit being so curious and just listen, and why do you ask so many questions? And can you not just pay attention to what I'm telling you? So as a society, we're actually knocking down our curiosity. And I find that a little disturbing for the most part. I think that that's what we need as a society to move forward. But I do think we're a little nervous about it too, because, you know, curiosity can possibly get you into trouble.
So what does it really mean to be curious?
So from a dictionary definition of curiosity, it is a strong desire to know or learn something. So it's filled with curiosity. She peered through the window. I got curious. And then it says, curiosity got the better of me. So even in our dictionary definition, we kind of throw the negative side into it. And then as phrases, right there in the dictionary, curiosity killed the cat. You know, it's being inquisitive about other people's affairs might get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah. Like nosiness gets tied in.
Yeah, I think nosiness and that that all things inquisitive aren't good. But I think there's kind of two sides of curiosity. There's curiosity that allows you to withhold judgment and allows you to see things in a new way and allows you to be humble. And then there's the curiosity that's truly out there that can harm you. We say we don't want our toddlers too curious, because if they're a little too curious, maybe they'll stick their finger in a light socket. They really want to know everything. So I think there's a balance in curiosity between the really healthy kind and the one that actually can get you in trouble.
What is lighting you up about curiosity right now?
Well, what's lighting me up about curiosity is really all the talk that I've come across in the workplace about curiosity. So I've had the opportunity recently to interview a lot of C-suite folks and talk to them about their hiring practices, interestingly enough. And as we talk about it, I keep asking them, like, what do they find is missing, or what really lights them up about certain applicants that could possibly come and work for them? And hands down, the number one discussion is they want people who are curious. And the reason they want people who are curious is because people who are curious continue to learn. And since we don't know everything we need to know nowadays and things are going so quick, we need people who are willing to learn.
In my own experience as a hiring manager, thinking about, oh yeah, I want people who are curious to come in, not only to keep learning, also to learn about us.
Yeah.
We've had people come in and really, we've had to work with them with the whole, don't assume you know everything.
Oh.
And that just because there might be a problem, that there's nothing to learn from us.
Yep. Absolutely. I found one of the stories that I got out of one of the hiring managers I was talking to was that one of the most important parts of their interview process is the tour of their company. And I was like, why would your tour be your most important part of your interviewing process? And I think it's a time where most people relax and say, okay, I just have to nod my head and walk around. And that's people have failed their interview process over the tour. And what they do is they use the tour to see if the person truly is curious about the company. They want to know what questions they ask. They want to know if they think they know it all, because they don't need to know it all, because they know they don't know it all. And they want someone who is just naturally curious and really wants to dig in. And interestingly enough, with curious kind of comes humble. So almost they almost work hand in hand with each other, because if you're humble, you don't know everything. So if you have a big ego, you're not necessarily curious because you think you know it all. So these words, at least in the workplace right now, are working kind of hand in hand. But I did think it was interesting, this whole process of, hey, we're going to tour you around our company. We're going to let you see who we are and what we do. And again, like that being a part you can fail of an interview by not being curious enough about what they're doing.
Yeah, they do not prep any interview candidates for nailing the tour.
No, I've never heard of it before, but I did think it was really, really great. I do think it really does say a lot, though, again, about where we're going from a society standpoint, is we have to get over ourselves and get over that we know everything. And unfortunately, I think we've created, especially in corporations and public institutions and so on, I think we've created a culture that tells people they need to know answers.
I'm really curious about how these concepts of curiosity, humility, and kind of that beginner's mind idea even supports, one of the biggest buzzwords, at least where I'm at, is innovation.
Absolutely. So, I'll take it even back a step further. It supports diversity. And diversity supports innovation, because you can only get to innovation if you have diverse thoughts. So if you can't be curious about others, you can't be curious about other fields, you can't be curious about new problem solving methods, about the way, if a educational institution can't be curious about the way a small business is being run, they can't learn from each other. So you've got to look, you got to back up that step, and you've got to find the diversity of ideas. And the only way to find the real diversity of ideas is to be curious. And again, if you're curious, it defers judgment. So I think that's a huge factor as well, is this deferment of judgment, because even as you approach someone and you want to know more about something, if you ask, well, why are you doing that? People get on that defensive. Like, they start with their laundry list of, well, because I'm supposed to do it. I think it's the right thing. Like, there becomes a defensive way of answering the question. Where when you look at someone and say, you know what, I'm really curious about what you're doing. Can you tell me more? You suddenly level this playing field, and there's no judgment involved. And all of a sudden, all these ideas can start happening, which are just, again, the really diverse ideas. So then it can lead to innovation.
That brings to mind, like, almost the kind of playful, childlike showing off, like, you're curious, let me tell you about this thing I love, rather than, oh, I have to justify why I like the thing I love.
Absolutely.
Very different places.
Absolutely. And, and being curious about someone else makes that person that you're curious about, like, feel like they're on cloud nine. Like you said, it's like a childlike thing. It's like there's an automatic acceptance when you're curious about something. Like, again, there's no judgment there. So yeah, you're like, oh my God, let me tell you. And you get so many more amazing answers out of someone than you do if you hit them over the head with that horrible why question. Why? There's justification in that. Sometimes, especially around innovation, you don't need justification. That's not going to get you an innovative result. So how do you help people shift into this type of thinking? Really, again, a really great question. I think what I love is I think curiosity can be taught. And I find that super, super exciting, because I think we have in our heads that, like, creativity can't be taught. You're either creative or you're not. We have these lines in the sand that we as a society think. But I don't think we have that line with curiosity. I think that it is a skill that we can teach people. And I actually think it's a pretty simple shift that we can have. Well, one, we've got to allow, companies have to allow people to be curious and not judge them for not knowing. So I do think from a cultural shift, that is huge. And I think that we'll get there. And I do think it's possible, but I do think that's the number one way to get people more curious. I think schools need to decide it's okay to be curious again and not know the answer. Because in the school system, one right answer is the way to go. And if you don't have that one right answer, you're wrong, which we know historically there's not one right answer for everything. There's a multitude of answers. So I think we've got to start in those two places from a cultural standpoint. But then I think once we, from a cultural standpoint, say it's okay to be curious, people are curious naturally. And really, it's a simple subset of asking great questions, deferring judgment, and just exploring possibilities. So those are not hard things to learn. And those are easy muscles that when you exercise them, you get stronger at really, really quickly. So I see a lot of hope around curiosity. So let's say it's 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. And you have been able to get people from across the country and industries onto the curiosity bandwagon. What kind of potential do you see for that kind of shift? Well, the last time we as a society we were wildly curious was the Renaissance. Ooh. So that is our time period of most enlightenment, most growth, most fulfillment. And I think we could come back to a Renaissance society, where we're expanding in all directions. We expanded, again, in the sciences, in the arts, and we didn't see these barriers between these two different disciplines in that time frame. Because, again, judgment wasn't there. We didn't have to have right answers. We were able to cross those boundaries, which is really amazing. So I do think, genuinely, if we're going to evolve to the next level, especially of innovation and so on, it's going to be the people in the companies that are really curious.
Nice. I love this idea of that the renaissance of the Renaissance person.
Yeah.
We have so many people who are so good at one thing. I think maybe that's what inspires us about Elon Musk and company, because they're getting to do so many different things.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got Elon Musk. He's immensely curious about it. He is not afraid to say, I want to go try something over here, and I might fail. That word is a whole other word to have a discussion on, because I don't think you really fail. I think you learn. So again, like if you look at failure through the lens of curiosity, I'm curious why that didn't work versus, oh, it didn't work. It changes everything. If you're curious why something doesn't work, it just opens you up to so many more possibilities. And again, learning so that you can iterate and make things different the next time. But going back to Elon Musk, he is so willing to get out there and be curious. And when he fails, he's curious about his failings. Richard Branson is the same way. Total Renaissance man, working in multiple fields and doing different things. And I think those are the people that we're admiring nowadays. I mean, even companies like Microsoft, I see them as totally expanding their what they do. Google, great example. Google wants to create a car as well as your search engine. Like, they're wildly curious as a company. Amazon is curious as a company. Like, I think the companies that we're really seeing evolve to that next level are curious companies. And they are the ones who are asking for curious people to come work for them.
Nice. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me about curiosity today.
Love curiosity. I'm always curious about curiosity. And I will say, like, this is just the beginning. Curiosity, there's not an end yet for me in curiosity. I think there's a lot to be curious about.
What's one thing you want to leave everybody out here in YouTube land with today about curiosity?
Curiosity doesn't kill the cat. I think we just need to really understand that and know that our curiosity might actually be our gateway towards understanding each other and evolving our society.
I love it. Thank you so much. And everyone out there, thank you for watching. Join us next time.